Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be a 2,500 point game of Warhammer Fantasy, and I'm going to be up against some vampire counts here. And that could be a little bit scary because of what I'm going to have against them, which is my trolls again. I got good old Throgg, his troll horde, and the thing about trolls is that we don't have artillery to take down those terrorgeists, and we don't have magic weapons to deal with ethereal things. So, really, a Vampire Count's opponent is a scary thing for a troll army. Luckily for me, he doesn't take any ethereal. He actually, a lot of the points he usually puts in the stuff, he's taking that big horde of Graveguard, so that's actually pretty good for me. He only has one Terrorgeist, so that's pretty nice. Over this on his flank, he has a big block of zombies, a block of the Direhounds, horde of the Graveguard with great weapons. He has a Terrorgeist behind. Then he has a big, huge bus of the skeletons, and in there he has a Vampire Lord, who's a blender guy, and then also a Vampire BSB, who is also like a little mini blender. He also has a Mortis engine, and on my side, I'll have a Giant, a Horde of Trolls, and a Chimera. And on the other side here, he has then 6 Crypt Horrors, another small unit of the Zombies, and another small unit of the Direwolves. For me to finish things off, I got the 6 Trolls with Throgg and a level 1 Sorcerer, who's my General, Lore of Fire, and then another 18 Trolls and another Giant, who's a Nurgle Giant. Now, the game we got here was the regular pitch battle. We only got 5 pieces of terrain, 2 woods, a house. The one here in the far right here is Arcane Ruin, so our wizards aren't even close to it. That won't matter. And the hill on the other side is a scree slope. So, really looking at this, I know I have to be very careful with that Terrorgeist. He can get behind my lines, and at that point, I can't stop him. He's just going to scream at me all day. So I have to be very careful about that. Now, if you do the math, especially if he does not give his general much of a strength bonus, Throgg can kill a Blender Lord. So my goal is to deliver him to the Blender Lord. Now, in the whole deployment dance, I had to place down Throgg before he placed down his general. So that's why he's central. But I'm going to want to join Throgg to one of the bigger hordes and then just get in there and crush him. But I was actually very surprised. I actually really thought that he was going to be in with the Graveguard. Kind of makes sense why he's with the Skeletons, because all of a sudden now they're going to be kind of a killy unit as well, because most of what you can just fight in the front is just, characters or command. But either way, I know that I can deal with the flanks fairly easily, and it's all about making sure that I can kind of overwhelm his units and make him crumble as much as possible. So he wins first turn. The only spells he has, because he just level 1s for both, is one has Spirit Leech and the other one has Gaze in the Gash. On this first turn, he gets a pretty good roll for trying to do the Spirit Leech to my level 1, and I figure might as well use a scroll just to be sure. And then I stop Gaze in the Gash, and really that's all that happens. You can see here that the dogs on either side, he's fine moving them up. He's being a little bit more conservative, knowing that he can Spirit Leech my guys off first. So yeah, that's all for his first turn. On my first turn, I try for some charges. They're all pretty long, but I figure, why not try, right? You might get that 11. So the Giant fails over here. Other Nurgle Giant fails on this side. And then my Trolls try to go to the Graveguard. Because really, if I could have pulled that off, they would have just ripped those Graveguard to shreds. Meanwhile, here you can see what happened. I just kind of eased up then, because again, I can't rush up because I don't want him to run past me. Plus, I want to avoid combo charges. I'm pretty sure my Troll Horde can destroy the Graveguard, but if he then charges in with the Skeletons as well, so he has the killingness of the one and the Vampire and all the ranks, that'll be horrendous. So I gotta be very careful with that. I made sure I placed myself so that the Terrorgeist can't get past me, and Throgg is now in the other unit. On his turn 2, he gets a Spirit Leech off with Irresistible Force, and he kills my level 1 and my General. So that's a good amount of points I'm giving up here. On my turn, I try going for the Super Fireball on the Terrorgeist. He dispelled it, but yeah, that Spirit Leech is pretty dangerous, but at least now at the miscast, it's gone, and I don't need to worry about it anymore. Otherwise, you can see he's still being fairly cautious. you know, why not, right? Hold back, Spirit Leech off a guy. The good news is he's moved up with the Grave Guard a bit here, so my hope is that I could get both the Trolls and the Chimera into them, because then I would just wreck them in one go. The dogs did come up pretty far, but I think he's trying to tempt Throgg away from the main battle. So, I mean, I'm not going to fall for that. But, yeah, you know, so far a little bit calm, but craziness is about to happen. So on my turn, I go for that. I get the Giant into the flank of the dogs. That should be pretty easy. And I need an 8 for the Trolls, and I failed it. I did make it with the Chimera, though. But you know what? That's not totally bad, because now the Chimera could get in there. He can really soften the unit up. He might die to screams and stuff, but hey, at least he's going to do his worth, hold down the unit, and the Trolls can finish off after. On this side here, what happened is the Giant failed getting into the dogs there on the right, and what I really wanted with these other Trolls is they were going to charge the zombies. And if I did that, and it wasn't that long of a charge. I think I need like a 6 or something. If I would have pulled this off, then I would have probably crumbled them in one go, and then the overrun would take me to the flank of the Crypt Horrors, and then this flank just would have been over. So, unfortunately, that didn't work. But the main thing here is that I don't really care if I fail. You know, even if he charges me with the Crypt Horrors, I'll beat them. If he charges me with the Crypt Horrors and the zombies, I'll just beat them even worse. So, this side, even though I'm failing charges, it's fine. So, otherwise, what happens over here is I beat the dogs by yelling. So, that's actually pretty bad because, I mean, I could be doing lots more damage to them, but whatever. I win by 2, and I actually reform to show my flank because then it takes the zombies out of the arc to be able to charge in. Meanwhile, in the fight there, I did very well with the Chimera. He killed, after crumbles and stuff, 16 Graveguard are gone. He did just 1 wound to me, so that's really good. And even though I'm sure I'm going to be screened off now I know for sure if I get the Trolls into that unit, they're dead in one go. So after all, I mean, it looks like this after everything's said and done. That little unit of 6 there, I'm not really wanting to dedicate it yet because it can be used to go after a flank or to block something. But at that point, yeah, I'm just... I failed the one big charge there, but, you know, it's still okay. So on his turn here, he tries to... geez, I think he actually tried to Spirit Leech. Maybe this was the irresistible one. So it must be this time he gets it off on Throgg. Yeah, and this is the irresistible. Now he forgets it. So if he would have killed Throgg too, game would have been over. Odds of that happening are very low, but at least now for Cersei's, Spirit Leech is gone. He comes over here to yell at the Chimera. Chimera dies, and like we thought, it's okay. He did his job. Otherwise, this Giant goes and kills all the dogs, and now I can deal with the zombies. I know I can avoid the zombies, but I don't really need him in the center, and even though this is like 200 points versus 60, I might as well get those points. So otherwise, it looks like this, and now it should be good, because now the Trolls can go in, kill the Graveguard, overrun to the Terrorgeist, block the Skeletons, get finally charges on the right, and yeah, it should be getting some points going my way. Oh yeah, unless, of course, I fail a charge. So, oh no, this wasn't a failing a charge. It's not that embarrassing. I failed stupidity. So, you know, that's one of the things. I mean, Trolls are really awesome for their points, but if you ever go and fail a charge or something, or stupidity, the whole unit's useless. So that's really too bad. Could have really done a lot of work over here, but whatever. Meanwhile, the Giant goes into these zombies. And I'm coming into here. So, like I said, now that they're reduced to just, what, 15, I should have no problem crumbling them in one go, and then also getting to the Terrorgeist. And I also have the Nurgle Giant going into the dogs here. So after everything's said and done over here, I killed some of the zombies, he had a wound back. Over here, totally destroy the dogs, and now I can just reform the face this way. And in the challenge there, he challenges me, I kill him. So now Throgg got +1 weapon skill, so that's pretty cool. Weapon skill 6 now. And I overrun into the Terrorgeist, because of course I just totally destroy him. He only did like 2 wounds to me, Terrorgeist will die for sure. I did have to worry about being flanked by his skeletons, but I think I have a better picture here to show it. However, the way that's set up is, first of all, it would have been very hard to get to me because of that house being in the way when he tries to wheel into me. And then just to make sure, to be absolutely sure that he doesn't get into me, I moved the trolls up just to block as well too. That's as close as I could get, but it's close enough. And in case you're wondering, that forest we went through is a blood forest, which won't really matter. So on his turn, he's coming here into the trolls with both the Mortis engine and also the skeletons here. They are going to die and get destroyed. However, hey, you know, maybe I'll get off some lucky pukes and start weakening this vampire lord, because I know eventually the game is going to be decided by a fight between Throgg and that vampire. And yeah, he totally destroys me. He runs me down with the Mortis engine. Meanwhile, the skeletons reform to face Throgg. He was in a really bad spot. I want to say this is a mistake because what I can do now is when I do beat the Terrorgeist, I'll just reform the face. And with all these skeletons, I don't care how killy the vampire is, I'm going to win because I'm going to destroy skeletons. So it'd be really good for him if he could actually show his front or even his rear. I was thinking after, maybe one of the best things he could have done is actually chase and try and show my rear to the trolls. Because even though you're losing your ranks and also being flanked, well, the 5 you're losing there is way better than all the combat res I'll get for killing. But either way, this is what he does. And of course, I kill the Terrorgeist, and now this is going to be the big fight that decides the game. His Vampire Lord against Throgg, his skeletons and vampire against my trolls. And one of the things that's actually really against him is not only is he pretty outclassed, but a lot of what my opponent likes doing is dealing with the leadership, right? So, oh, take a test at this. You know, this fear test is on 3d6. Drop the lowest and all these things, right? But I'm immune to psych. So all the tricks that he's kind of building up for does nothing to me. Over here, this giant keeps on fighting these ghouls. And at the end, it looks like this. So he actually went with his Crypt Horrors, and they're trying to come back to support. The zombies just there to block. And yeah, more killy time. So this is what killy time means. I have the big fight there with trolls versus skeletons. And as a very easy fight on the right, I got my trolls and giant against the zombies. And that's overkill to the extreme. Over here, I probably should be winning, but I just yell at them and kill 2. And then over here, I totally destroy those guys. And the way that it could have maybe worked is maybe the Nurgle Giant could have overran into the rear of the Crypt Horrors. But to be honest, I don't even want to fight those Crypt Horrors because with their poison and their attacks, they're going to beat the Giant. And the Trolls too, I could face them, but they're just going to book it around the house. And the way that they're situated now, they're just looking at the rear of the skeletons. Meanwhile, in the other fight, he had challenged me with the Skeleton Champ. I killed him and got +1 toughness, so that's pretty cool. And after that fight's done, yeah, his vampire did not do very well against me. It did all right, I guess, but the thing is, I mean, with my regen, it really shuts down the whole Red Fury thing. So he didn't do too great against me. Meanwhile, look at that. I just crushed those skeletons. I also killed his vampire because in the little fight against the 6 trolls, I didn't do anything to his vampire. He made his wards, but I did get 1 wound on his vampire BSB. Now in this fight, I killed the BSB. So this is looking very bad for him. We then do some reforming shenanigans. He wins the roll and shuffles down first in such a way that he could get fighting with basically 4 of his crypt ghouls, but then I just reform as well, slide down, just to make sure it's only going to be the 2. So on his turn, he charges them in, and you know he's only going to get a few attacks here, but he really needs all the help he can get. Over here, I yell again, and I don't finish these guys off. And this is going to be it. This is the big fight here. Throgg versus the Vampire Lord. And actually, this isn't a Vampire Lord. This is a Ghoul King. But, yeah, I mean, really the way it is, with me now being +1 toughness, I should have this in the bag. But you never know what's going to happen. But the way it goes, he actually does no wounds to me. between my tax and my breath weapon, I kill him, and we decide, that's really it. Because with this and all the kills on the skeletons, the Cryptors are almost all going to crumble anyway. Then he has to crumble for his guys dying. And yeah, I mean, he's pretty much wiped out as it is. So there you go, a victory for the trolls. So victory to my Wars of Chaos and Throgg and his trolls. And really what this comes down to is just the overwhelming force of the attacks of the trolls. The Blender Lord is really good, but when you have 54 attacks coming from a horde of trolls, they just kill so much. I mean, normally a horde of Graveguard with great weapons and the Banner of Barrows for the +1 to hit, they just wreck everything. But really, when that attack happened there, I just wiped those guys out because it's so many attacks. So it really was kind of a bad matchup in that way. Of course, it made it worse where all of a sudden from that house and the way I had it pinned in, he couldn't even wheel in with his Lord to try and help out the other unit. But really, I mean, he was really missing some of his normal key components, right? If he would have had some Spirit Race or the Hex Race, or, Spirit Host or the Hex Race, it's a totally different game, right? Because one Hex Wraith has to run to a giant, done, right? A little unit of the Hex Wraiths, they run into a horde of trolls, I'm done, because I can't hurt them. So I was really lucky that he didn't have those components, and then I just had to play a little bit more carefully, making sure that his terror guys couldn't get behind me, and then just blah, go and kill stuff. So there you have it. As far as the way that this army is broken down, I think the way with like the 2 hordes and a smaller one for Throgg is a good way to do it. Throgg is very powerful, so normally him in a unit of 6 is all you need. Really having the other stuff like the giants on the side, they're kind of more for fun. It'd be better to have chimeras or something like that. But I like giants and I like this list. And hopefully you guys like watching it. So there you go, and bye.